Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. With your permission, I will group question 7 with question 15. At their peak under the previous government, there were 400 hotels in use across the country at a cost of £9 million a day, and thousands of asylum seekers were left in limbo in those hotels as decision-making collapsed. That was the chaos which this government inherited a year ago, but we've taken action to restore order. We're cutting the overall cost of asylum accommodation, and we are committed to end the use of these hotels entirely by the end of this Parliament.
Charlie Jewels.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. People are rightly concerned by reports that the Home Office is now buying hotels to house asylum seekers. This appears to be completely at odds with the government's manifesto pledge to end the use of hotels. So can the Home Secretary or her Minister confirm to the House today that these reports are true or not true? And can she reassure my constituents in Bridlington and the Wolds that there are no plans to house illegal migrants in facilities in our local area?
Well, the Home Office is not buying hotels, Mr. Deputy Speaker. And as for the honourable gentleman's constituency, there are currently 61 service users housed in his area, which is under 15% of the quota, and there are 0 hotels.
Joe Roberts.
Mr. Speaker, the government may not be buying hotels, but it's filling them up with asylum seekers. The number's gone up in the last year, not down, yet the government says it's going to reduce them to 0 by the end of this Parliament. Can the Minister confirm, is the commitment to end the use of asylum hotels by the end of this Parliament a guaranteed pledge on which we can judge its success or failure? Yes or no?
Mr. Speaker, by March this year, 15% fewer people were in hotel accommodation than at the end of 2024. We're saving money on the chaos that we inherited from them, and we have announced that we will end the use of hotels by the end of this Parliament.
Melanie on.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. Are private rented family homes in socially and economically deprived areas the right place for asylum seekers to be housed? Are community impacts of those placements being monitored, ready to inform policy if necessary?
I can assure my honourable friend that we keep all of these issues under close monitoring, and we are doing our best to ensure that individual areas take their fair share of the burden when it comes to looking after those people who are in our asylum system. But just to reassure her, we've speeded up asylum decision-making. We're getting the system that we inherited, which was paralysed, going again so that we can deal with this issue as quickly as possible.
On the next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This Labour government inherited a situation from the Conservatives where we were spending almost £9 million every single day on asylum hotels, including the Crew Arms Hotel in my constituency. So can the Minister set out what steps she is taking to bring down those costs, as well as speeding up decision-making so we can reopen the Crew Arms as a hotel?
We are as anxious as my honourable friend is to end the use of asylum hotels, but the backlogs we inherited from the party opposite and the time it was taking, because decision-making had collapsed by 70% in the last 3 months of that government, has made it harder than we thought at the beginning to empty hotels. However, we have speeded up. There's been a 116% increase in initial decisions, asylum decisions. We are speeding the system up. We are getting people through the system, and we will close all asylum hotels by the end of this Parliament.
Secretary of State Crystal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, I would just gently remind the Minister the number of immigrants in asylum hotels has actually gone up since the general election. Now, I recently visited an asylum hotel and saw bikes from Deliveroo, Just Eat and Uber Eats in the hotel compound. Local eyewitnesses confirmed that the illegal immigrants in the hotel had been illegally working. This creates a pull factor because people smugglers actively market illegal working opportunities, and of course it creates risk for women and girls who might receive deliveries late at night from these undocumented illegal immigrants. So will she at least commit now to preventing this illegal working taking place from the hotels that she runs?
Mr. Speaker, we've had a 50% increase in raids and arrests on illegal working since we came into government, so perhaps he should have spent more time when he was in government in enforcing the rules on illegal working, and we are doing more, including extending the law against illegal working to the gig economy, which is in the Border Security Bill, which he voted against.
Lisa Smart, Liberal Democrat spokesperson.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. Enabling new refugees to properly prepare for life in the UK will be key to reducing the need for asylum accommodation. In my own Hazel Grove constituency, we've seen that extending the move-on period not only gives new refugees much-needed time to make those preparations, but also protecting other public bodies, such as the local authority, from being left to pick up the cost. So it was really welcome news last December when the government decided to trial a longer move-on period for 6 months. But that 6 months has now come and gone, and despite numerous requests for an answer, the government has provided no certainty on whether the trial will be extended. Mr. Speaker, can the Minister provide clarity on that today?
As it happens, Mr. Speaker, I can. We've extended that move-on trial to the end of the year.
From Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, small boats undermine border security and put lives at risk. The criminal gangs have adapted their tactics to exploit French rules that prevent the authorities intervening in French waters. The French Minister of the Interior and I agree that this needs to change. He has instigated a major maritime review to change tactics and operations, and we want to see these changes in place as soon as possible.
Julian.
I agree with the Home Secretary that that would be a major step forward. Does she agree with me that on average, well over 1,000 people have been crossing the Channel each week this year, and that there is no way that any form of court procedures can keep pace with that? So does she therefore agree that nothing other than either prevention, as she's described, or interception, or, as a last resort, detention and return can possibly be successful?
Well, I do agree with him that we need the stronger action to prevent the boat crossings in the first place. That is why we are working closely with France, both on strengthening the law enforcement, with a new law enforcement and investigations unit set up in Dunkirk, and also on the issues around maritime tactics, because we need those interventions as well in French waters to prevent boat crossings in the first place.
Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The small boats crisis is one of the single biggest issues that my constituents raise with me, and while the government has made progress on returns, it is the case that crossings are still happening. So what assurances can the Home Secretary give my constituents that these gangs will be dismantled and that these crossings will stop?
Well, my honourable friend is right to refer both to returns, where we have increased the returns of failed asylum seekers by more than 20% since the election, and also to refer to the action against the criminal gangs that operate. And it is why, because we know that there are particularly Iraqi Kurdish gangs operating in northern France, we have a new agreement in place between ourselves, the French government, and also the Iraqi government and Kurdistan regional government to pursue those gangs.